Are you ready?
Let's go.
From AMI Central.
Now circling in the neutral zone.
Here's the pitch on the way. 36 yards for the win.
This.
Here comes a big chance. The shot.
Is
this the dagger?
The neutral zone.
Home run. Good.
This is as good as it gets.
Now, here's your host, two-time Paralympian, Brock Richardson.
What's going on? It's time for another edition of the Neutral Zone. And yes, there is a Claire Buchanan sighting. She is back. Welcome back, Claire. Also joining us is Josh Watson. With that, let's get into our headlines.
Neutral Zone headlines.
Late last season, Damar Hamlin, safety for the Buffalo Bills, went into cardiac arrest on the field during a game against the Cincinnati Bengals. As was widely reported, he has slowly recovered. Today, we are pleased to be able to bring you the news that he has been cleared to return to all football activities, meaning he will be able to play for the Buffalo Bills next season. When I first saw this happen, I wasn't sure that we were going to see him survive the trip to the hospital, let alone one day be able to come back and play football. So congratulations, Damar. Best of luck with the coming season, and just we really hope you are doing well.
Currently, Nico Ima is 14 years of age, one of the youngest competitors to compete at the Défi Sportif. He took home the gold medal alongside his father, Patrick Ima. One of the great things about Nico is that he won this event and he is too young to be part of the national championships, and he's going to be given exceptional status in relation to this event and will attend the upcoming nationals this November. We are pleased to be joined by Nico and his father next week as we'll be talking about his success at this event and one internationally coming up very soon.
Exciting news out of Calgary. A deal has been done to replace Calgary's Saddle Dome. The total cost is estimated to be more than just shy of $1 billion, with $800 million going towards a new arena. And that will be the new home of the Calgary Flames. The overall cost also includes improvements in parking, transit, a new community rink, and an enclosed plaza.
Those are your headlines for this week. And I thought we would spend our time chatting on the headline related to Nico only being 14 years of age and winning the event at Défi, and this being the largest in Canada. I can tell you that when I was at Défi, I was doing nothing but missing the call room, and the call room is something you have to be at in order to participate in the game. And my respite worker, her name was Kathy, went up to the lady and said, listen, he's not going to win, let him play. And she said, no, you missed, sorry about your luck. What is your comments related to Nico, and how good is this to see him win the event? Claire, start with you.
It's always nice to see athletes not only start sport at a young age like this, but to see them excel and compete at the level that they're competing at right now just shows the level of maturity that they have as an individual, but also the support system that they have around themselves, not only staff, but family and friends, and your family is involved in your sports at that age when you're that young. And I was just getting started in parasports at 14, so it's remarkable to see not only the athletes like them starting off so well, but we at the women's national team as well, we have a handful of 14 and 15-year-olds that are just getting started in sport, and it's exciting to see. Like it's refreshing to see new faces and a maturity level that they're ready to compete and they're excited. So it's kudos to them to be able to train and be prepared for a competition like this, but also excel at the way that they have in big moments like the one that they just experienced.
Yeah. I personally don't remember what I was doing at 14, but it certainly was not competing at a large event like this. It takes a certain mindset, a certain innate ability to compete in sport at a young age and to excel at it. So to see Nico succeed at 14 when he's not even eligible for a national championship yet is truly remarkable, in my opinion. I had a chance to see some of the bocce competition at the Parasport Games in Whitby back in the spring, late winter, early spring, we'll call it. And just to see the skill and the thought process that goes into even playing a game of bocce, let alone to be that proficient at it, is just truly remarkable. I didn't get a chance to see Nico play specifically, but I definitely did get to see some other bocce players, and I mean, even they amazed me. So good job, Nico, and good luck as you receive your exceptional status. You've earned it.
There was absolutely zero doubt that we knew that he would be a great player in Canada, and I think for him to go to Défi and really put on a show really cemented the provincial program to say, listen, we need to put him here. And so we congratulate Nico, and we look forward to having him and his father join us next week. With that, if you want to get a hold of us on Twitter, here's how you can do it.
And welcome back to the Neutral Zone AMI broadcast booth. And we are set to get this ball game underway. The first pitch brought to you by Brock Richardson's Twitter account at NeutralZoneBR. First pitch, strike. And hey, gang, why not strike up a Twitter chat with Claire Buchanan for the Neutral Zone? Find her at Neutral Zone CB. And there's a swing and a chopper out to second base, right at Claire. She picks up the ball, throws it over to first base for a routine out. And fans, there is nothing routine about connecting with Cam and Josh from the Neutral Zone. At Neutral Zone Cam J and at J Watson 200. Now that's a winning combination. And this Oregon interlude is brought to you by AMI Audio on Twitter. Get in touch with the Neutral Zone. Type in at AMI Audio.
We've been releasing these interviews for you that I did at the Canadian Paralympic Committee Summit. And today we're going to release another one of those interviews, and we're going to speak with Iulian Ciobanu from Montreal, Quebec. He recently competed at the Montreal World Bocce Cup, and here are his results. They're very simple. Individual, he won gold, and teams and pairs, he won gold. The rest of the team had 3 total medals, and 5 in the additional top 8. Please enjoy this interview with Iulian. Iulian, you burst onto the scene in 2015, and it happened very quickly, and you made the national team. What was it about what you did that made you pick up this game at such a high level very quickly?
I think it was the passion, because I liked what I'm doing. So I was very, very interested about to succeed and what I'm doing. And in my life, it's the same thing. I'm perfectionist. So when I'm starting to do something, I want to do it well. So and also because of Marco Dispaltro, that he was there when he was second, I think, in the world ranking, second place. So he was a top athlete. So he helped me a lot to give me advices and also equipment. Why not? He gave me balls, and he helped me to quit to get involved in the bocce.
You know, some people, the biggest criticism of bocce, if we can call it that, is it's a slow-moving game. And when you first see bocce, you kind of look at it from the outside and you say, I don't know if I want to get involved in this. I don't know what's going to happen here. Did you ever have that moment where it's like, are you sure you want to get involved? Or was it pretty much, no, I like this, and we're going to move forward?
Yeah, I think it's a slow game because when you are watching it from the side, but when you are playing it, it's not a slow game at all, because a lot of things it's happening in your head, and you need to be connect, to rest, connect, and to play. Because when my opponent is playing, I'm playing too at that moment. I'm not off of the game, so it's a non-stop game for me. But I understand that the people who you need to try it to understand, to feel it, and then you get more connected with this game when you're watching this game.
People say that bocce is 90% mental and 10% physical. It seems kind of like a weird ratio to put out there, but can you explain that? You kind of led into it with you're playing all the time, but can you elaborate just a little bit?
You see, if I will say, can you play a sport without your mental, it's impossible to play something without thinking. So of course it's a lot of mental game in boccia, and because like BC3 players, they are not physically implicated in the game. Of course, we can say that it's 100% of a mental game, because assistant play, they move the ramp and they do all for them. They just push the ball. But of course, from this point of view, if we're watching, I can say it's 100% game, mental game.
Yeah. You and Allison have had a bunch of success over the last little while. Can you talk about why you've had a bunch of success and why it's become so good, the pairing, and even adding Marco Despaltro a little bit into that mix?
Hard work pays off. So it's something that it's coming when you are working every day. You're training to get results, and you get it, because it's like we're training together about 8 years we are together. So the results was expected to come. And now we are starting to have regularly good results on the international scene. And I play with Marco in pairs, for example. I play with Allison in pairs too. And we had times when, if you remember that in boccia, like 2 years ago, the coach was able to change the players in the game. Now, today, it's not allowed to do it. Now you have 2 players on the court, so 2 play from the beginning to the finish of the game. There's two players. So when I start to play with Marco and Allison, our coach was has this opportunity to change the players, but at the same time it was a challenge. But when you change a player, of course this has an impact in the momentum of the game, and sometimes can be a positive or negative impact of the game. But today you play with 2 players that must play from the beginning to the end. And I think you learn a little bit more together with your teammate to manage the energy, the dynamic of the game.
You guys have had a recent, let's call it a coaching shuffle. Mario DeLille is the high performance director for Boccia Canada, and now Cesar Nicolai is the head coach. For you guys, he was primarily your on-court coach anyways. Have you seen a change in style, or is it pretty much status quo, the same as the same?
Yes, we feel it. I feel it, the change, because he's talking more. Now Cesar is busy, more busy than in the past. So the transition was fast, but because of course of our experience, and we can say that we are so autonomous players. I can say it was like a fast transition, and we used to now we accept that change, and we are good now. But of course, it was a change change that I didn't expect the impact of this change. But then with our mental, that we have we have a mental. Psychologist that he's working with us, so he helped us to pass this transition.
Okay, I love it. You have muscular dystrophy as your disability, and muscular dystrophy is the type of disability that changes over time. It's an ever-changing disability. It's degenerative. How do you manage to play the game and yet still manage your body changing all at the same time?
Yeah, the progression of my illness is quite slow. So you have time to adapt to your physical limits. But now I will be honest. We need to be prepared for the future. So I'm in the process to change my manual chair to a motorized chair, a power chair, because I'm losing a lot of energy in the trainings when I'm training on the court to push my chair. So it's something that we're thinking about, and we did already some researches to find a chair, power chair, to help me to keep more the energy to play and not to push me, because I can say 15% of energy that I spend on trainings, it's to push my chair. So you need to be very you need to how to say sorry, it's
prepare.
No, you need to monitorize the progression of your illness, because I'm using my power in my limbs. So it's difficult. You have neck pain because of that. My trapezes are getting weak, so it's difficult to you get some. I have regularly. I can say have pain in my trapezes because of that. So it's all because of my illness, because I'm playing like I played 5 years ago, but the pain it's often, it's coming often.
It's progressing.
It's progressing, so you need to be, and of course we have people that he's working with us. We have a physiotherapist and other specialists that they with whom we speak about that, and they give us
strategies.
Yeah, strategies how to do it to not to get injured by the time. And it's complex. You need to consider that. Yes, you need to consider that your illness it's impacting your game.
One of the beautiful things about bocce is that there's categories for everybody. So when you lose that muscle capacity, you can transition into a BC3 category where they use a ramp. How long, if I can say, do you foresee this where I can play as a BC4 and yet still we might have to be talking about at some point, listen, I have to make a transition, and it's that simple?
It's also, questions about the classifications too. You need to be classified. If you are able to throw a ball 10 meters, I don't think you can be a classified BC3. But it's coming with it's depending on your condition, physical condition, when you decide to do it. And the classifiers need to note it, that you are not more able to play as a BC4, and you want to change the category. But it's really fast, I think, because already you know the sports and how it works, the bocce, on the court. So It's just the decision. I think to take this decision takes more time than the transition, I think.
Right. One final one for you. You are a father of girls, and I think a lot of people don't realize the challenges of being a family guy as well as competing at a high level. Can you talk about your relationship between bocce and your home life and what that's like and how you're able to make the balance?
Yeah, because I became a father and a sportsman. At the same time, I can say that I progressively integrate these two roles in my life by the time. And today, my family is used to with the fact that I must go compete 3-4 times by year and not to be at home. They are used to, but more they start to understand my daughters, more it's a little bit more complex now, because I think just my daughters and my coaches want medals. Because when I'm coming home, Daddy, you win a medal. For them, going to competition is bring a medal. It's something absolutely normal. So they are missing. Yeah, I miss my family when I'm going in competitions. But the fact that I start to do this sport and to be a sportsman at the same time when I become a father, I can say that the transition, I integrate these two roles in my life progressively. So I didn't feel it. It not comes when I was already a father. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And my wife, she's actually Corina. She's actually my assistant and partner in Montreal. She's coming with me in each training. But to go to the international competitions, I have Sorin. It's my partner since like 4 years now. That we are going together to competitions, and my wife she used to do it, assist me in Montreal, but not coming with me with competition because she need to stay with the girls at home. Now school, because of the school, she can assist me and come with me. But you see, we accept it, and we're okay with that.
You spoke about it just a minute ago about your sport assistant being your wife at times training, and you have one that is with you and has been with you for 4 years. I think the audience might be saying to me, I want you to ask this question, and this question is, how do you pick the quote-unquote perfect sport assistant? And I put it in quotes because there isn't a perfect sport assistant, but how do you, Iulian, decide this is the one that needs to do this with me and this is going to work for me?
It's actually, personally, I'm okay with everybody, because it's a process. The person who I'm choosing to assist me will coming to me in a competition. It's very simple. The person who is coming with me, where I think in generally a person who is assisting an athlete must be very flexible, because they need to be attention, and at the same time they need to be connected with what's happening, and to be there for you for each competition. So their role, it's quite I don't know, I will say it's mutual. It's you develop a dynamics with different partners. You will develop a different dynamic with him. It's not the same thing. I don't. For example, for me, I'm not searching. If I will tomorrow, I will search someone else. I will not search a copy of someone that I have had already in the past. I will accept my next assistant, my next partner, like it is, and he will accept, I think, things on me, and I will accept him like he or she is, like he is.
Love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. We greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That was Iulian Ciobanu from Montreal, Quebec, bocce athlete who, again, recently competed at the Montreal Bocce World Cup. Thank you very much to him, and congratulations on his success at the recent event. If you want to get in touch with us on the program, here's how you can do it by voicemail.
If you want to leave a message for the Neutral Zone, call now 1-866-509-4545. And don't forget to give us permission to use your message on the air. Let's get ready to leave a voicemail.
Something that I want to get you in the loop for is an event that's taking place in Ottawa, Ontario, this coming weekend, May the 5th to the 7th. It is the Goalball National Championships that are taking place. And if you are not in the Ottawa area this weekend, that's okay. You can go to the Canadian Blind Sports Association website and you can catch the live feed that they will do throughout the weekend. And we're hoping to have some of the participants on in the weeks coming, and so we can get you some of the results. But you'll probably hear in our headline next week who won the medals at that event. So good luck to everyone involved, and enjoy the city of Ottawa. And I say that, guys, enjoy the city of Ottawa, knowing there's no enjoying of the city of Ottawa. As athletes, you do nothing but play, eat, sleep, transport back and forth to the event. But I'll say it anyways. Enjoy the city of Ottawa. It's always a good time. One of the things that came out of the interview with Iulian was the fact that he is a family man. He has a couple of children in his life, and he was talking about the work-life balance. And I thought we could use a conversation here regarding work-life balance, and we're going to take it in a couple of different directions because we all have different scenarios of how we've had to balance our life and work. And when I refer to work, I'm referring to work as an athlete, just to give some context there. Claire, I want to start with you. You are a mother of a little boy who's a wonderful bundle of joy, and I know you have a challenge sometimes balancing, play and sport and being a mother. Can you talk a little bit for us to kick this conversation off on what that's like in relation to your sporting career?
Yeah, I would first off say that you can't do it alone. You have to reach out and tap into the resources that you have, whether that be your athletic staff, your teammates, your family, friends. They are not only there to kind of be your cheerleaders and kind of enjoy your success with you, but they're there to be able to help you get there as well. So every week that I record this show with you guys, my mom comes in and helps take care of Dash, and they get to have a couple hours of hanging out, and that's just one way that I'm able to be here and be present and not have to worry about a 5-year-old coming in and out and poking their head in the show. And but you can't do it alone, and you got to take it one day at a time, because you might be able to plan what you're doing the rest of the week. And I do that. I have many ways of how I schedule. I have a chalk wall and calendars, and I talk to my coaches, and we set out a plan for the week or the month. And I can tell you it never goes exactly according to plan. Every day is going to be different, and you try to plan as much as you can, and a lot of the things are in your control, but a lot of them aren't as well, and you got to kind of roll with the punches that way and not let it kind of dent your morale or kind of your goals. And it's every day is different and the same at the same time. You got to train every day, you got to work every day, and you got to be a mom every day. So there are things that happen every day, but they look different each and every day and every week.
Obviously, in your situation, and I'm going to try to phrase this as best as I can, when you're dealing with a 5-year-old, you have to have, different language being used so that they understand what's going on. But I know for certain that your son is supportive of your career. How do you manage the conversation of like, listen, mom's going to be gone away again for sport and she's going to be gone and she's representing the country? How do you manage that so that he's not like, you're missing XYZ again and you don't have to deal with the meltdown and or hand it off to your support system and say, sorry guys, I left him in this position and now you deal with it, which is obviously not the ideal situation.
Yeah, you never know when a toddler's personality is gonna kind of switch, and they're gonna have bad days just like we do as well. So I'm lucky that he's now getting used to and actually wanting to FaceTime and kind of chat when I'm away as well. And we've transitioned into this type of schedule with women's para hockey now that. Most of our camps and stuff are around 3 or 4 days, but our competition schedules are now closer to 10 days. So it's a much longer than both myself and like everyone around me has been used to. So he's also at the age now that I can have those conversations and really kind of explain what's going on, and there's a level of understanding. But I acquired a concussion a couple weeks ago in Ottawa, and he's not at the age yet that he can travel with me and just kind of do his own thing. So he was home, and he got told that I got concussion and that needed to be quiet and kind of give mama a lot of love and just she needs a lot of rest. And his first response after hearing that I got hurt was, but did she drop her sticks when she got hit? He was really concerned. He was really concerned that I got hit and dropped my sticks. So having kids around keeps it light and fun. And I thoroughly enjoy and really take into account that the moments that I get where he's actually there and able to watch me play or be involved are few and far between right now. But that'll change the older he gets and the more that I'm able to have him tag along. And it's you never know. I mean, just like with any human, you never know like what's going on with people's lives and how they're feeling that day. So yes, I do drop him off at my mom's house or whatever sometimes, and just he's not having the greatest day, and you're just like, okay, I gotta go, bye. Like, but yeah, hey, everyone loves having him around, and I love being a mom, and he loves that I play hockey. And this next hockey season, he's wanting to get in a sled and try it out. So that's just another thing that I'm going to be able to share with him.
Yeah, I love it. Josh, I have some different questions related to you, but let's start with explaining your situation, because it's a little bit different than your conventional situation. So if you start with that, and then I will bombard you with some specific questions.
Fair enough. Well, I have been lucky enough to be in a long-distance romantic situation with a beautiful lady from Alberta, and it's been going on since Brock and Catherine actually introduced us back in September of 2021 now. And so it's a little challenging because I have to carve out parts of my day to say good morning and say good night and find out how her day is going and tell her how my day is going and things like that. And And when I do have sports going on, it's like, okay, you might not hear from me today for a while because I've got this going on and that going on. But you know what? We've been able to make it work, and we've had a couple of brief visits with one another. One where I went out there last summer, and a couple of weeks ago, she actually came here for a nice week of meeting friends and family and just relaxing and spending time together. So it was really nice.
Yeah, for sure. And for those that wonder who Catherine is my attendant that has been with me for about 6 years, and she comes and takes care of me and has been heavily involved in my life and my career, and even a little bit of bocce when I decided to come out of retirement, which was a horrible idea, but she was around for that. And so, yeah, it's good to see all the connections. For you, Josh, you don't yet know your situation yet of where you're going, who's going where, what's happening. But it's one thing to say, I can pick up a different sports team in a different part of the province. It's another to say, I might move and I have to then pick up and move to a whole nother place and find another team. Can you talk about how that process may or may not have started and how easy and or difficult that may have been?
It's not necessarily easy. I've been a member of Cruiser Sports here in the Greater Toronto area for a number of years. I started with them approximately 2005. And so to kind of pick up and potentially have to find another team is challenging. Now, luckily enough, as we sit here in 3 different locations recording this, we do have the internet, and it's a wonderful thing. So I have been able to go online, and I know the area around where she lives, and actually know that the Grand Prairie as a city does actually have a wheelchair sports organization. So I do know that they do offer para ice hockey. They do also, I believe, offer basketball, but don't quote me on that. The one sport that I don't see them offering at this particular time is track and field, which is something that I'm heavily involved with during the summer months. So that would be a challenge, but I mean, it all depends on the situation. Like if I choose to make that move, and it's a decision that's obviously going to be made in tandem with my partner, then I'm willing to make that move, and I'll do my research, and I'll find the clubs that I need to join in order to make those connections and continue to play. But it is certainly more challenging.
I really wanted to have this conversation on piggyback of Iulian's conversation, because I just wanted to let the audience know and understand how difficult it is to be an athlete. A lot of people say, you get to travel here, there, and everywhere. And I made the joke and said, with the goalball national championship that's taking place, you're not going to see the city of Ottawa. But I think a lot of people in the general public kind of sit there and say, oh, you get to go visit this and you get to go visit that. But we forget about these conversations that we have and think, oh yeah, it's not just about being an athlete. It's about, making sure that my ducks are in a row, making sure that my family's sorted out, my friends are sorted out, all those things. So for anyone listening to this conversation, Claire, what are some of the strategies you've used to just make sure that everything is in a row? And what would you say to somebody who looks at their schedule and goes, I have a family, I have friends, oh my goodness, how am I going to handle this?
Write everything down. I have a chalk wall, like I said, and I have multiple calendars and multiple shared calendars. We, as the national team, have a schedule that's shared with us of not only our national team schedule for camps and competitions, but what other people are doing. I'm currently not involved in the provincial team with para hockey, but we have their schedule as well, because a good number of our girls are on the provincial teams. And also we have 2 athletes that are in the high performance program under Hockey Canada's development program. So there's a handful of girls that they're pretty much doing hockey all year round, most weekends, training every day, going to school, getting jobs. So it's time management is one of the hardest things to learn as a skill, as an athlete. And it's easy when you're given, say, like a strengthening conditioning program. It's just laid out for you. Do these things on these days. You don't really have to think about it. But when you're managing your time of like, when do I work out and how my day is going to go, you just got to do an outline and really make sure that each day is planned out for the next. And I tell my family and friends this, that I won't make plans with anybody, and I won't think about making plans any further than a week ahead, because my mindset is in this week, and I'm going to get this week done, and I have these things to do this week, and then I can tackle next week. And that's, again, it's nice when you're at a level, either provincially or nationally, that a lot of it is kind of laid out for you and kind of takes a lot of the guessing out of it. And you just have to kind of cross your T's, dot your I's, and again, lean into your support system. My mom does a great job of reaching out to me and asking, hey, what do you need help with this week? And that's nice to have, of people reaching out to you to say, hey, like, I'm checking in to see where I can help you and support you. So it's, again, you can't do it alone. You need that kind of two-way street of relationships. And it's really important to find those quality people that are like truly there to support you and wanting to help any way they can.
Absolutely. Josh, before we close the show with a little bit of mainstream sports chat, do you have any specific strategies that you've used that you can offer out there to the listening audience or watching?
Sure. For me, it's calendar. Put everything, no matter how small, in your calendar. I've got friends who just would be a lot more organized if they used their calendar. It's the only thing that has kept me straight. And it seems silly to put in things like, call my girlfriend, or, this show is coming on, I really want to see it, so it goes in the calendar. Practice is here, game is here, training camp is over here, work schedule, these are the times I'm working. This client from my small business needs my support, so I need to fit that in here. Like, without a calendar, you're lost. You're absolutely lost. So no matter how small, make sure it goes in your calendar.
These group of people that I get to work with are the busiest bunch of people that I know. And so when they tell you get a calendar, get a calendar and use it. And I just briefly, I'll tell you that when I got in my relationship with my now wife, I was overloaded, and I had to step back and say to myself, okay, you've spent 15 years in this sport. What is it you want to do? Do you want to focus on broadcasting and relationship, or do you want to focus on sport and relationship? Which do you want to do? I did not think I could do three all at the same time. And so for me, I chose, relationship and broadcasting, which are the things that you have to really come to and say, well, what are we going to do? And at some point you do get to the crossroads and you say, which way am I turning? I have 3 options, sometimes 4. Which way am I picking? And that roadmap of the calendar is really, really helpful and telling you where to go. So I hope that was a little bit of an interesting conversation in regards to in the minds of athletes, as you heard from Iulian, a little bit of his scheduling, and I really enjoyed that conversation. Conversation I'm really going to enjoy now to close out the show is to talk a little bit about the NHL playoffs. And I have a couple of stats for you guys that I'm curious what your thoughts are on both of them. I'll tell you that we know that Edmonton and Vegas will play each other. We know that Dallas and Seattle will play each other. And we know that after a 19-year curse, the Toronto Maple Leafs have entered into a territory that they have not seen in 19 years. By the way, their streak can literally drink now. That's how long it has been. So this is good. I want to get your thoughts here. Let's start here. Road teams in the first round of the playoffs, as we record and sit here, they were 11-3. And so Seattle recorded the opening goal in every game against Colorado. Who do you guys think is the last team to do this? And do you care to take a stab? Claire, start with you.
Yeah, it's been an interesting first round, to say the least. And, there's obviously a couple teams that we didn't think that would be here right now. And it's mostly because of road wins. And it's an interesting thought to go on the road in a playoff situation and close out a series like, for example, Florida just did. Boston was up 3-1, and us as Leafs fans, we know how that feels. And we know how that can go. So to see a turnaround like that, and it happened in road wins, it's just, it shows that that teams are pushing a little harder when they're not in their rink. And I hope that streak continues, because that's where the wins kind of need to come from. Like, you kind of expect home wins to happen, and you want to win in your arena, but those road wins are going to be the big ones to grab a hold of. And I hope that the Leafs can do it. Obviously, like I hope that we can go into Florida. Well, not Leaf fans, because they're banning Leaf fans. But I hope that the Leafs can go into Florida and put on a show just like they did in Tampa. So, I'm putting my money on the Leafs. Let's go.
Fair enough. Any quick stab at who you think the last team was to score in every game in a series, the first goal in every game, as the Seattle Kraken did, Claire?
My guess is Boston.
Nope. Josh, do you want to take a stab?
Well, I'm going to be honest here, Brock. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit, because I did listen to your hits on Now with Dave Brown and on Kelly and Rumia this afternoon. So I'm pretty sure I heard you say it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, but, I might be wrong.
Wow.
So that's fine. That's fine. There's a reason I started with Claire, because I was pretty sure that Josh may have heard it through one avenue or another. Yes, it is in fact true that the last team to score in each of its games in a series was the Toronto Maple Leafs back in 2004 against the Ottawa Senators, and you know what took place there. I want to get some quick reactions from you. Let's start with the Edmonton Oilers Las Vegas series. Who do you think's got that one, and why or why not? Josh, start with you.
That one is really tough for me to pick, because I haven't seen a lot of Vegas this year. But given that they have Jack Eichel, they have strong goaltending, and they've been quite successful, my heart wants to say Edmonton. I would really like those Oilers to go into the playoffs fairly deeply this year. They've struggled a little bit, but I do think it's going to be Vegas.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. It's got to come down to goaltending, and that's, I think, where Vegas kind of has the upper hand on the Oilers is goaltending. I love Jack Campbell. Love him as a hockey player and a human. Love watching his press conferences, but I don't think he has reached the point in his career where he's like truly consistent, especially at a playoff level. So yeah, I had, and I still have the Oilers going well deep into the playoffs, but it will depend on how well the net is protected.
And to your point, the net hasn't been protected by Campbell that well. They had to turn to Stuart Skinner, in the playoffs because of that. And right now, Jack Campbell is one of the more expensive backup goaltenders there is. Backups. And Stuart Skinner is one of the cheapest starting goaltenders there. Like it's a complete direct contrast. And you talk about Edmonton and the way Edmonton has looked, and we know what's coming up front. We know that they have Connor McDavid. We know that they have Leon Draisaitl. We know that they have Nugent Hopkins. We know that. The question is, what is the defense going to look like? And I'm sorry, when Vegas got Mark Stone back and he came back to play, just him alone having his presence there has been such a difference maker and such a underrated return. It was almost like they got their own trade deadline when they said, hey, Stone's coming back off of injury, and everyone went, oh, okay. And Stone just came back and scored a couple of goals and all was well. And that's just the way it goes. And I'm picking Vegas as well. Again, my heart says Edmonton, but my head says Vegas. Speaking of head versus heart, let's finish on the Florida Panthers, who beat the record-setting Boston Bruins in 60-plus wins and 135 points. Who do you got here? Let's start with Claire.
Again, this is going to come down to goaltending. And this last series, the last couple games, Toronto was well defended, and I liked what I saw in terms of goaltending and defense and physicality on defense as well. So if they can keep it up, I have high hopes, and also from what I see, I think Toronto can pull it out, but they have to be perfect defensively. There's no beating around the bush about that.
Yeah, anytime you are a team that can take down the President's Cup champion, you are a team that has to be reckoned with. So I am also taking our Maple Leafs, but I will say that I do think it is going to go 7 games. I don't think Florida is going to go quietly. I think they are a scary good team. I think in Game 7 you really didn't even see Tkachuk really play a factor. I think you will see him play a factor against the Maple Leafs, but I do think Toronto is strong enough to pull it out.
I do think Toronto is strong enough to pull it out as well. I think that the fact that they got the monkey off their back and finally broke that 19-year curse, and I don't care who you are, if you saw those press conferences, you know that Toronto was feeling the pressure. But I'm picking Toronto to win, but I agree it's going to be a dogfight of a series. Well, that is the end of our show for this week. I would like to thank Claire Buchanan, Josh Watson. I'd also like to thank technical producer Mark Aflalo. And I'd like to send a special thank you to Ryan Delahanty, our podcast coordinator. Tune in next week because you just never know what happens when you enter the neutral zone. Be safe, be well.